Thank you so much for taking time to watch the replay of my webinar, How to Launch from a Bad Year to Your Best Year. I wanted to give you a little heads up before this begins. I actually hit the record button a little bit late. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything, just maybe me talking just a tad, but we're going to jump right in here. But just wanted to let you know that also there's going to be a giveaway at the end of this. Just stay tuned, hang in there. There's some great content ahead. Thank you so much. Take care. Be brave. But how do you use your failures as fuel for progress in the new year? Well, here's one thing that I've learned is that I can use the shame and the guilt, those feelings of shame and guilt that are inevitably going to come up when you think about what happened last year. Use those as a trigger to be grateful. So when you feel those emotions welling up, you use that as a trigger. My friend, he's a therapist, marriage and family therapist. His name's Rhett Smith, and he talks about creating triggers in your life. So whenever those bad habits, whenever those bad thoughts begin to come, use those against themselves and use them as a trigger to start a more healthy activity or action. So when you feel that shame coming, you know it will, begin to program your mind to think, oh, stop for just a second before I dig in and wallow in that shame. I'm going to stop and be grateful, because I know that gratefulness is the antidote to that shame. Gratefulness is the antidote to that guilt. So using the shame and guilt as a trigger for gratefulness, it's a huge, you can use this in so many areas of your life. When I tend to get down on myself or when I have negative self-talk, I use that as a trigger to remind myself about who I am and the truth about who I am. So that's a tactic you can use to use your failures as fuel for progress in the new year. Sometimes the failures show you what you don't want. And sometimes knowing what you don't want is almost as good as knowing what you do want. Because sometimes some people ask us, well, what do you want out of life? What do you want to do? And I don't know. Well, sometimes you have to figure out through failure. What failure does is it reveals to us what we don't want to do, or what we're not ready to do, or how we may be looking at things in a particular way that maybe maybe we need to change perspective. But that's the advantage. That's how failures can be fuel for progress. Failures may reveal flaws in our strategy. And you know what? In some ways, I thank God for the failures that I had in my life in a small scale, because as I sealed up those cracks and fixed that foundation, it allowed me to build something even bigger and greater because those flaws were exposed at an early stage. So be grateful that maybe those failures exposed some flaws that would have really bitten you in the butt big time in a few years down the road. Your failures may reveal flaws in your character. This is a tough one to embrace, but you have to embrace it if you want to move on. Maybe there are some failures, some things that happened in 2015 that really are revealing some flaws in your thinking and in the ways your kind of moral construct, the way that you're viewing the world, your own integrity. Maybe there are some flaws there that you need to address. And that is a gift, guys. For that to be revealed in your life before it destroys you, that is a gift. And I know it doesn't feel that way right now, but if you could take that perspective and thank God that he showed you that flaw before it got too crazy, or maybe it did get crazy, but you're still alive, right? Before it killed you. Thank you, God, for that. And the failures of your life, maybe of the last year, they may be calling you to maturity. And this is something I'm so passionate about. It's calling people to maturity. I think that's such a big building block for really unleashing your greatest contribution. You have to continue maturing no matter how old you are, no matter where you are in your life, no matter how many lessons you've learned, there is always room for maturity. And sometimes those failures show us areas where we need to mature. The hidden success is maybe that you're in a desperate place. And I know that this is kind of counterintuitive, but desperate people have often been used by God in mighty ways, in huge ways. Desperate people are in a place where they are ready to change something. So if you're in a desperate place right now, if 2015 has put you in literally a desperate place, you know what? You may be in the best place you've been in a long time, because you have to be fully reliant, fully abandoned to God. You have to be trusting in Him more than you ever have. And that, folks, is a powerful place. That is the place where really I believe we're supposed to be anyway, is a place of desperation. And that's a gift. So take it as that. The past is the past. If you're in a desperate place now, use that desperation to drive you, because when you're desperate, you can have a heck of a lot of energy, right? Desperate people can be high energy people, can be determined people, can be perseverant. And you got to use that and channel it into turning things around. And that's what I'm here to help you to do today. So if you want to repeat proof your life, and keep yourself from ever having a bad year again, compared to your last year, whichever you're referencing in your mind, you need a strategy. And so right now I'm going to switch off the video, and I'm going to give you, just going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to show you just some slides, and I'm going to talk about 5 keys to your best year. And these are keys that I have wrestled with myself, and I have struggled with, fought with, but I believe if you apply these things, they can be powerful in your life. And again, the free giveaway is coming up right after this. Right after these keys, I'm going to give you that free giveaway, and then we're going to have a Q&A time, and I'm going to unmute your calls as it comes. So if you have questions that are popping up, please write those down. I want to just talk with you. I want to dialogue about what's going on in your life, and what encouraged you through this, or what spoke to you, or how it's making you think differently. Maybe some things you're questioning and trying to figure out. Please write down some of those questions. I want to hear them. So anyway, I want to share the screen with you now, and I want to talk to you about 5 keys to your best year.